What's going on, guys? This is Snoo603 for Shustybang, and joining me is Fake Filler.
Hey, guys.
He's all stuffy. You'll have to pardon him. He has caught that mean cold that I actually had the other day.
I'm fine.
So, we want to talk about Endgame, the Endgame DLC, which is the 5th and quote-unquote final DLC that is planned for Battlefield 3. However, anyone that follows me on Twitter knows I posed the question several days ago. I'm not sure it was even a week ago at this point, but do you really think that Endgame is going to be the last DLC for Battlefield 3? What do you think, Chris? Because I have my theory, but I want to hear your input first.
Well, first of all, if it isn't, they need to change the name immediately. Because unless they do like Battlefield 3 Resurrection or Revival or some shit, like
that's true, because having Endgame not being your final DLC seems kind of redundant.
And actually, if you think about it, it seems really in poor taste. This is just a comment on the naming of that DLC to call it Endgame. Don't you think that's in real poor taste as far as marketing is concerned?
No. Well, what are you driving at? Like, what is your reason behind that?
In our community, it's already driving the point of Endgame is so Endgame's going to come out. Does that end the game for DICE? Like, are they done supporting BF3 once Endgame comes out? Like, that's the end of the line. That's just like the natural association that I tend to make with that.
That's actually a good point, because traditionally, with the final DLC also means the final patching support, just period. Support for the game is done. Just forget about it from that point forward. So, yeah, I agree. Probably not the greatest choice of words, the greatest title.
It's like it was like just up on the bulletin board while they were planning everything else. They're like, okay, DLC 1, 2, 3, 4 have been named. Now we just got to figure out the one for DLC code name Endgame. And they're like, ship it. It's good.
Right. Okay. So, before I get on to my point of why I think there could be another DLC, several people brought up the point that if there is another DLC, they all think that premium members should get it for free. I wholeheartedly disagree. What do you think?
Wow.
Greedy much?
If they come out with another DLC and they charge premium members, they're out of their minds. It needs to be free for premium members.
See, I disagree with you. I think
no. You can't do that's a slap in the face.
No, because premium was advertised as 5 DLCs, and that's it. And for anyone that wants to think like, oh, well, I paid so much money. Even if you bought the first DLC, Back to Karkin, and then bought premium, which, you know, I'm assuming the vast majority of people did because Back to Karkin came out before premium did, you still saved money. You still saved yourself $10. Now, had you not bought Back to Karkin yet and you bought premium, you saved $25. So, regardless of the fact that you still are getting all this, all the DLC a little bit earlier than you would if you didn't, you got your money's worth out of premium. Pending you didn't buy more than one DLC before you bought premium, in which case, why would you buy premium?
It would have to be a different kind of DLC completely.
Like what?
It couldn't be a map pack and a weapon pack. And
what else would you want then? Like what kind of DLC would come out that would get you hyped?
I know what's on everyone's mind with this dinosaur horde mode. And that something like that would be the only thing that could be. It would have to be like a campaign extension or something like that. There's no way they could do a map pack, gun pack DLC that looks just like all the others and charge people for it. It's just, it will not go over. I know they can do it. I'm just saying they shouldn't do it, and it would be horrible, horrible PR if they did.
See, I think that's wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just think that the whole notion and the attitude behind it is wrong, because you're right. The general gaming community is going to feel the same way about that, and I think that's wrong. I think that no one should expect it to be free, even if it was just another map pack and potentially some more guns, because premium came as advertised. We were given, for the most part, what it was as advertised. I know that we were supposed to get more guns with it, but we still got the maps and we got some more vehicles, so
yeah. And
to expect more out of it is is kind of greedy on the player's part. I mean,
Right.
like, oh, okay, there's a 6 DLC. Well, fuck that. I paid for premium. I paid for all this money. It should be in there. Well, no. You paid for premium based on 5 DLCs. This is a 6th DLC, and it's not cheap to come up with.
I know what you're saying, though. Like, you can't just pay for premium and think you're grandfathered into anything they want to come out with.
Right.
Like how people were all mad that they weren't getting into the Battlefield 4 beta because they were premium. I know a lot of people thought that they should have just been swept right in based on the fact that they bought the DLC packs and stuff. But as far as... I don't know. Well, okay, let's go back to your thought. Do you think there's going to be another DLC? Is that we've established that?
I'm still kind of split on it, but I actually really do strongly think that there will be a potential 6th DLC. I'm 60-40, maybe even 65-35, but I'm just a little bit on the favored side of there being another DLC. And my whole reasoning behind it is because of a couple things. First and foremost, they've given up on Medal of Honor. That game flopped. They messed up hard. And we don't need to go into the whole, everything about it. Everyone knows what's happened with it, and moving forward, that game has just been brushed off to the wayside. They've been pushing a lot of advertisements lately, again, for Battlefield 3 and Premium in general. And they've been paying these other big COD YouTubers, Woody's Gamertag, Whiteboy7th Street, and T Martin, to quote-unquote promote, but, to at least post Battlefield 3 Aftermath and, just say, hey, I'm playing Battlefield 3, the Aftermath DLC, you should go check it out and stuff. They're trying to push people back to the game that was doing really, really well for them. And since we don't have another major title to carry us until Battlefield 4, they need something. They need something with the EA brand behind it to keep the name in general discussion, in all gaming discussions, and the community is as it is moving forward. So if they can take Battlefield 3 and maybe push Endgame up a little bit early, just like 2 or 3 weeks, if it's ready, then potentially put out a 6th DLC, so that by the time, well, let's say 6 weeks is what the 6th DLC is going to be good for. Whatever we get, it'll get a maximum of 6 weeks of everyone being absolutely stoked for Battlefield 3 4. Well, at the end of that 6 weeks, that would put us at about May, June, depending on when it could possibly be released. Well, now we only have a couple months to go until Battlefield 4 beta, so they can continue to ride that hype train from one game to the next while keeping the whole Battlefield franchise, up to date and relevant, and keeping the EA name in the Battlefield community, or just the gaming community in general. That's why I really think that there's very strong potential for that 6th DLC.
I don't know, man. I don't want to be like the cynical, negative attitude kind of person, but I don't see it happening. Wouldn't they have to announce it pretty soon?
No.
They would want people to get Endgame and Premium before they go. And
exactly, that's the thing. I think if there's any chance that this 6th DLC could happen, it's going to be, I don't know, maybe 3-4 weeks max after Endgame is released. Right at the end of where people might not be hyped about it. And they could certainly keep up. They could have, like, their community manager and a couple other guys that actually work for for DICE and EA, actually, keeping a tab on the community and see what the hype looks like. And then they can also check the trends on what people are playing on Xbox Live and stuff, and see where Battlefield 3 is. And the moment it starts going down a little bit, that would be the time, if you're going to do it, to announce it, to, again, just keep the hype going, keep the name relevant, so that people are still having fun with it. You want to keep that positive vibe about it going for as long as possible, right?
But don't you think any positive vibe that they would keep going would be immediately trounced by the $15 price tag?
It depends. It depends on how good of the DLC it is. I mean, if it were like a 2-map DLC and nothing else, then it better be $5 or less, or people are going to be bullshit. Because $5 for 2 maps is actually pretty good, considering usually it's 15 for 4.
I'm thinking the likelihood of multiplayer DLC in that regard very low, but I'm thinking, like I said before, campaign missions or co-op mission DLC. That's something that they haven't really expanded on too much, and they could come out with some more, co-op missions for maybe 5 missions for $5 or something like that. It's a feeble attempt, and honestly, I would say, what's the point?
And that's why I don't think they'll do it, because there's nowhere near as much as a demand. And you can't get your money's worth out of co-op or multiplayer as you can multiplayer.
Another thing they could do. I'm just looking at the realm of DLCs that video games in general have, and what if they came out with a weapons camo skins pack or a character skins pack?
See, if they're gonna do that, that would have to be free, because
really, like, what happens if they were coming out all guns, 25 different camos or something like that, 20 different camos on any gun, and then 10 new player models? Like, you don't think they could squeak $10 out of people for that?
If there's new weapons, yes. Because
no, not new weapons, just new weapon skins, like weapon camos and shit.
No, because it doesn't change anything. Like, it doesn't give you anything new. There's no real incentive. Like, okay, I can go back and play the same game using the same exact guns. Nothing will change except for the looks. Well, yeah, that's not enough to really get any... Sure, you might get some, but you're not going to get a huge hit what you're looking for.
You'd be amazed. In Gears of War 3, they sold weapon skins, and they sold like hotcakes.
Okay, but at what point in the game's life cycle was it released?
That's right from the beginning.
See, there's a difference. I mean, this game's been out... Now, we're talking the game will have been out for over a year and a half at this point, because Endgame is due for March of 2013. So if there's a 6 potential DLC, we're talking May or June if it's going to drop.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Do you really think that if they're to drop like a 25 25 different skins that could be used for every gun, and whether it's just purchase or you have to play to unlock them, do you really think that's going to be enough to get huge interest back into a game that's over a year and a half old?
No, I think they're in uncharted waters as it is with paid DLC a year and a half into a game's life. I don't... Just as far as expansion packs go, like, I don't want to get into a whole debate over DLC strategy and stuff like that, but I feel like this late in the game, for a lot of things, it's a feeble attempt. But I could see we're past 12 minutes now in the commentary, and I know we like to keep these things relatively short if we want people to stick through the whole thing. So maybe we wrap it up and see what people have to say down below, and then if we need to, we could do a follow-up.
I think this is going to need a part 2, but we're going to have to wait and see what everyone else has to say about it. You take that, digest it, and I get a really good feeling this could come back for a part 2 and another equally long video.
We got to ask In the Works, because he's good at predicting things.
This is true. He's very, very good at that. So I'm sure he'd be willing to come in for a little guest commentary. So in the comments, let us know what you think about this potential 6 DLC. Again, nothing has been announced. This is all just, you know, us hypothesizing. Speculation. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. So yeah, please leave some feedback. Let us know what you think about it. And if there's a good enough conversation generated within the comments, we will come back with a follow-up / part 2 on this. And if you guys really want, I'm sure you'd be more than willing, we can get In the Works Media to join us for it, because he usually has good things happen when he when he theorizes. So, guys, we appreciate you watching the video. Rate it if you could, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Later, guys.